What's going on, guys? Today I'm back with another Hat format replay review for you guys. If you're interested in sending in your Hat format replays, you can go down to the video description and find all the information on how to go about sending those in. But anyways, the match I have for you today, we have Blaze Phoenix, who is going to be on Mermail, versus Velez, who is going to be on Chainburn. This should be a very good match, and in general, this is also a War League match, so it should be very good. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Here it looks like Blaze Phoenix is going to win the rock, paper, scissors and get to start this one out. Opening hands, we see Allure of Darkness, Torrential, Marksman, Title, and Abyss Pike, so a pretty strong hand, honestly. And on the other side, we see Secret Barrel, Card D, Reckless Greed, Accumulated Fortune, and Just Desserts. So also not the worst hand, lots of draw power in a sense, having, the card, the Reckless Greed, and a way to trigger the Accumulated Fortune, but obviously it will depend on how Blaze Phoenix plays out their turn. So here Blaze Phoenix does get a draw for turn, getting a copy of Abyss Sphere, which is very strong. From here, they're going to summon Abyss Pike, discarding the Title to add a copy of Genix Undyne from deck to hand. After that, they are going to set 2 back row and pass it over to Velez, who is going to draw a copy of Jar of Greed, my apologies, and then set 5 back row, go for Card D, use the effect, and they're thinking on summon. Here it looks like on summon, the Abyss Sphere is going to be able to be activated and go for a copy of Abyss Lind, and from here it looks like they are then going to Torrential there, so actually destroying the Card D, and then Lind will trigger to summon a copy of Abyss Pike effect, discarding Marksman to add a copy of Gund, and there the Marksman will trigger to hit one of the back row, and here they are going to hit the Reckless Greed in end phase, which is kind of big because that is a draw 2, so kind of unfortunate there. Over to Blaze Phoenix, who now gets a copy of Undyne, which they're then going to summon the other copy of Undyne, sending a copy of Dragoons and adding a copy of Controller. From here, Dragoons is going to trigger, I believe they misclicked there, which they did, and add a copy of Megalo. From here, they're going to go Allure of Darkness. They're thinking, and they say it's good actually, go for Allure, and here Blaze Phoenix draws a copy of Teus and Marksman, very, 2 very good draws there, and banishing that copy of Controller. And from here, let's see what they do. They go Teus, discarding Marksman, summon out the Teus. From here, Marksman is going to trigger, attempting to pop. Let's see. And then the Teus is going to trigger it. Secret Barrel is going to be the next chain link there. And then after that, Accumulated Fortune can be chained because it is chain link 4. So here it looks like Velez is going to make Blaze Phoenix take 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And they're going to get to draw 2 here, which is very strong. Here getting a copy of One Day Apiece and Dimensional Wall. Very good, but given how Blaze Phoenix's hand is, they might be able to just push for game here. So we will have to see. It would have been good if they got like something like a Swift Scarecrow or a Battle Fader or something along those lines. And then anyways, they take 1200, and then after that they are resolving the Teus, I believe it was there, adding a copy of Lind, and after that, misclick again. It's pretty easy for that to happen when playing online. But anyways, after all of that, it looks like Megalo is going to activate, discarding the Gund and Lind, and summon the Megalo, and from here Gund can trigger and target the copy of Lind in graveyard, and then Megalo can trigger to add another copy of Sphere. So here the Lind gets summoned, and then after that Just Desserts is activated, doing 500 for each, so that is 2500 damage, a lot of damage there. After that, they are going to overlay the 2 3s for a copy of Alucard, just to make sure that the back row is nothing crazy. Here the Jar of Greed is activated, drawing into another Accumulated Fortune, which unfortunately here is not good. And next, after that, banishing 2 for the Title, and that is enough for game. After that, also using the Megalo, just in case, to tribute off the copy of Teus so that the Megalo can attack twice, and pushing in with everything, which is enough to force the game number 2 now. So now Velez will get to start out, which is very good when, you're playing a burn deck. You want to have be able to set up your traps and everything like that. But anyways, opening hands, we see a double MST, Controller, Pike, and Heavy Infantry. The double MST is pretty good, especially going second. The infantry would have been better if it was a marksman, but it is what it is. You can't always get the perfect hands. And on the other side, we see Jar of Greed, Lava Golem, One Day Apiece, Waboku, and Just Desserts. So a way to stall out for a bit, and the hand definitely isn't bad. It's not the greatest, but they will get a draw for turn, getting another copy of Waboku, so this might be a long one. Here it looks like just setting 2 and passing. Here Blaze Phoenix gets a copy of Undyne, which they are going to summon, sending a copy of Dragoons, adding hitting the controller, and then Dragoons is going to trigger to get the Marksman. So as I mentioned, they do have access to it, going to battle phase and attacking in for 12. I guess they do have to kind of be careful, though, when adding all of these cards, because there are cards that we saw, for example, like the Secret Barrel, that are going to do extra damage if you have more cards on field and hand in general. So, you know, that is something to keep in mind. But anyways, here Velez is going to take the 12, and then it's over to them. They get a copy of Max C. They're going to go 1 day apiece. Blaze Phoenix gets an Undyne, and they get a copy of Battle Fader. So again, all the way to stall out, but nothing more than that. Here it looks like MST is going to be activated, hitting the copy of Waboku, and then the other MST is going to hit the Jargreed, which is going to be chained, and they draw into a copy of Cardcar. Here, it looks like it's over to Blaze Phoenix, who gets a copy of Megalo. They're going to normal summon the controller, and interesting here, they're going to go for a copy of Mechwip Engineer, my bad. And it's almost interesting that here they normal summoned the copy of Undyne, or was it the controller? Regardless, and Velez didn't chain the Max C. There's almost a reason to do that when you have Lava Golem, because it'll mean that your opponent might not overcommit, given, if they assume you're on burn, they're going to assume that you're playing Lava Golem, and that way, at bare minimum, you'll get to cycle 1 card through your deck and have the Lava Golem if they choose not to. But here, just letting it go through, and here Blaze Phoenix does get to summon the Engineer, and they're just going to pass it over. Here, Velez gets a copy of Just Desserts, and just setting 1 again over to Blaze Phoenix, who draws into a copy of Dark Hole. They're going to normal summon the Pike, discard the Marksman, add a copy of Lyn. The Marksman's going to pop the back row. The back row is going to be chained, so Blaze Phoenix takes 1,000, and then pushing in for some damage. I believe that was already 1 turn cycle, so the 1 day apiece was already well over. And anyways, on the attack, it looks like Battle Fader is going to be dropped there. So back over to Velez, who gets a copy of Scapegoat. Scapegoat is usually a card that Chain Burn isn't going to main. If anything, it is a sideboard card when you know your opponent isn't on any deck that really is going to go into something like a Gaia Dragon, which could do piercing. So here, obviously, just being a extra wall. Anyways, here they are going to use that Lava Golem and tribute off the 2 monsters. After that, setting 2, and back over to Blaze Phoenix, who now gets a copy of Sphere, and they're going to take 1,000, and then in main phase, activate Dark Hole just to clear the board. Go for Megalo, discarding Undyne and Infantry to summon it. And here, Maxi is going to be chained to that. Okay, so now, holding for the potential bigger push play if that were to be the case. And here, Sphere is going to be added off of the Megalo, and Velez draws the Chain Strike. Obviously, they did that a little out of order, but anyways, going to battle phase and attacking for 24 before setting 2 back row and passing it over to Velez, who gets a copy of Legacy of Yatagarasu. Here, setting 4 back row, or was that 3 back row? My apologies. I keep forgetting, as there's a lot going on with it. But anyway, summoning the copy of Card D. They say it's good using the card car and drawing Accumulated Fortune and Reckless Greed, which is very good. But even then, they do have a lot of back row and way to stall out. So depending on what Blaze Phoenix does, this could be very close to the end of the game. Here, it looks like Blaze Phoenix gets a copy of Soul Charge, which you definitely don't want to be using against the burn deck, summoning the copy of Controller, and then here they're going to synchro for a copy of Leo, go battle phase, and attack in. Velez is going to think they're going to go with Boku, so obviously they won't take the damage there. Here, Velez draws a copy of Dimension Wall, which is very good against Leo. Dimension Wall obviously says activate only when an opponent's monster declares an attack. Instead of your opponent takes the battle damage you would have taken from this battle. And this does not target, so it plays around Leo saying that your opponent cannot target this card with card effects except during the main phase 2. So this is like the perfect answer to this Leo. And so here they are going to set that. Here Blaze Phoenix gets a copy of Undyne. They're going to go battle phase. And here we do see that copy of Dimension Wall. And so they're going to take a lot of damage, Leo it being 3,100, and over to Velez, who now gets a copy of Reckless Greed. They are going to set the Accumulated Fortune there. And here, Blaze Phoenix gets a copy of Lyn. Leo's going to attack. Scapegoat is going to be activated. Legacy of Yatagarasu is going to be activated. And then Just Desserts is activated. Accumulate Fortune and Chain Strike. So that is a big chain. So Blaze Phoenix is going to take 15. They are going to, Velez will draw 3 cards do an extra 500, and get 4 tokens. So that was a very big turn for Velez, who's basically finished off the game at this point, more than likely getting Secret Barrel, Battle Fader, and Lava Golem. So, enough to do game, and it is. So here we go into game number 3, where Blaze Phoenix will get to start this one out. This is going to be a very important game. Opening hands, we see Torrential, Genix Controller, Undyne, Debunk. So honestly, kind of a rough hand here for Blaze Phoenix. And on the other side, we see Reckless Greed, Waboku, Chain Strike, Ojama Trio, and Lava Golem. So a pretty all-right hand from Velez. So this should be interesting here. Blaze Phoenix is going to get a copy of MST, which is at least something here. So, keep that in mind. So here, Blaze Phoenix will start out their turn by summoning a copy of Undyne, sending the Dragoons. We've seen this before, adding the Controller. Dragoons is going to trigger and add a copy of Marksman. After that, it looks like they are going to set 3 back row over to Velez, who gets a copy of Duality. Very strong draw there. They are going to activate it, revealing Maxi Legacy of Yatagarasu and Battle Fader, adding the copy of Maxi. Okay, a little bit interesting, given, well, I guess... This is a bit of a tough situation there. After that, they're going to just simply set 4 back row. In the end phase, Blaze Phoenix is going to go MST, hitting the Waboku here. Blaze Phoenix draws for turn, getting another copy of MST, which is good. Here, the Controller is going to be summoned. They're going to go straight to battle phase and attack in again. And here we reach that situation that I mentioned prior, where if Velez just chooses to drop the Max C, it might leave Blaze Phoenix in a position where they're not going to give Velez an extra draw. And as a result, it will make so the Lava Golem is live, and I believe... Did I see it right? Oh no, they used the Waboku already. So maybe in that situation, it could be a little rough because they are already at 5,400. And if they don't have an answer to the Lava Golem, that's going to be 3,000. But at the same time, they do have the Reckless Greed. They would potentially have a draw for turn. So it could be a little interesting. But at the same time, I guess Blaze Phoenix is at full health. So here, let's see. It looks like Blaze Phoenix is going to overlay for that copy of Mechwick Engineer and then set the MST and over to Velez, who gets a copy of Secret Barrel, so still wouldn't have been enough. They are going to set it, but that is going to eat the MST over to Blaze Phoenix, who now gets a copy of Teus, which is very good, so they can get rid of this Marksman here. They're going to just go to battle phase, though, and attack in for 18, and then pass it over, really trying to play this cautiously here. Velez is going to draw yet another copy of Max C. Very unfortunate draw there. And they're going to have to make a decision. They are going to have to Reckless Greed on their own turn, getting a copy of Dimension Wall and Card Car. So 2 very strong draws here. They are going to set the Dimension Wall and summon the Card Car, but that is going to eat the Torrential. The Mechwick Engineer is going to chain its effect on itself, switching it to defense and making so it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. Over to Blaze Phoenix, who now gets a copy of Mooling Glacia. How's their grave looking on Waters? Just the 1 Dragoons, so nothing here, but they definitely have plenty of ways to get Waters in grave if need be, which they're going to switch the Engineer to attack and just keep poking, honestly, with the Engineer, which is seeming to work here. And over to Velez, who isn't going to get to draw because of the Reckless Greed. Instead, they're going to go for the copy of Ojama Trio. So Blaze Phoenix gets 3 tokens, so, clogging the zones a little bit here, and then going Lava Golem over the Engineer and a token. And it says they're talking about if you contribute it, which you can, because Ojama Trio specifically says they cannot be tributed for a tribute summon, but Lava Golem is tributing them for a special summon. So that is something to keep in mind if, you've ever looked into Chainburn as a deck you want to play. But anyways, over to Blaze Phoenix, who in standby is going to take 1,000, and they had drawn, I believe, the Megalo there, so here they're going to go for the Megalo, discarding the Undyne and Marksman, but Maxi is going to be chained to that, but Debunk is going to be able to be activated to negate the activation of the Maxi there. I believe it just doesn't negate the activation. Yeah, it does. Here, the Maxi won't get banished, though, because it was sent from hand to graveyard, so it's not in the same location that it was originally activated, therefore Debunk isn't going to banish it here. But anyways, the Megalo is going to be summoned, and Marksman's going to be chained, and so here, the Marksman is going to hit... What set was that? Ooh, the Dimension Wall. That's kind of a big hit there. And after that, they get the copy of Sphere. Did Velez draw there, honestly, for turn? Did they forget when they chained the Maxi? Or, oh, no, my bad. We were just talking about that. The Debunk negated that. So, yeah, never mind on that. Anyways, the other Maxi is trying to be chained, but Maxi is a card that says that you can only use 1 Maxi per turn, not you can only activate 1 Maxi per turn. So they actually aren't able to use that. Hopefully they catch it. It looks like they're talking about it. But either way, it looks like Blaze Phoenix is going to walk with it. Velez didn't really have any way to deal with the pressure and especially, Blaze Phoenix still had a lot of cards in grip and still had a lot of plays. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it, comment any questions or videos you want to see in the future, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified anytime I put a new video out, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to go down to the video description to find out how you can send in your hat format replays. Whether, you know, it was a game you won or lost, if you thought the deck you or your opponent was playing was pretty cool, feel free to send it in. I'd love to show it off, and I'm sure a lot of people would love to see that. But anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video.